Hello, welcome to iFanboy Mediasplode episode 63, One Battle After Another in Alien Earth Season 1. My name is Conor Kilpatrick, and I'm here with Ron Richards.
Hello.
And our special guest, Josh Flanagan.
Hey now, I thought you were just describing the show. Welcome to iFanboy, One Battle After Another. I was like, that is one of the titles we batted around for a while for the book, which is, as far as we understand, still forthcoming. It will continue to be forthcoming until it comes, which is the beauty of that. One thing we do have is 1,000 title options already.
We are iFanboy, and we normally talk about comic books on our Pick of the Week show, but this is our non-comic book media show that was unlocked by our patrons at patreon.com/iFanboy. So thanks to the patrons, and consider being one today. You can create all kinds of fun things for everyone if you join. We have a lot to talk about this month. There'll be spoilers as we get into some of the reviews later on in the show, but as always, we'd like to start the show with what we've been enjoying since we last spoke to each other, which was not that long ago, but we're here again.
It seems like it. It always seems like a long time and yet not a long time. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
Ron, why don't you kick us off with what you've been enjoying?
Yeah, sure. So for those of you playing along at home might recall that I'm on the Bataan Death March of concerts this fall. I've been, it seems, seemingly going to a show, multiple shows every week. It's never ending. In fact, I'm going to see High Viz and Team Duresh later this week. But last week, I was super excited to go see David Byrne perform at Radio City Music Hall in New York City, completing, at the request of my wife, who doesn't nearly go out as often as I do. But about a year ago, he turned to me and said, if David Byrne tours again, playing full music, like we missed the America Utopia tour or whatever they did pre-pandemic or whatnot. She's like, if he does that again, I would like to see that, because I feel like that's something I would like to see before he stops. And then lo and behold, David Byrne came out with a new record, announced his tour. I snagged tickets, and had a good feeling that it would be a good show. But wow, was it a fantastic show! I didn't realize that David Byrne is 73.
Yeah.
Right. So, David Byrne of the Talking Heads, for those of you who can't put that connection together. Fantastic combination of playing classic Talking Head songs that you would know and love. Definitely knows what the hits are and has no problem playing them. But also played a bunch of songs from his latest record, which are also, he's still got it. Is a great musician, great songwriter. But the production value of the show, the very simple set on stage of just these three very tall screens and then very high definition projection mapping behind them. And each song had a different theme to go with it. And the choreography of him and his troupe of other musicians and dancers around him, they're all wearing blue kind of jumpsuits, and each song had its own production to go with it. One song took place, the projection was on a rooftop in New York City, and it went from the middle of the day into sunset into nighttime, and it just looked beautiful. It was just very immersive. Hard to explain, but it was just like totally blew me away. Just
sounds
so
like
much,
Oasis all over again.
A little bit, but in a different way. I mean, obviously Oasis being in Rose Bowl, which is such a huge kind of experience versus, a closed theater like Radio City Music Hall. But it was just so, even though it was, obviously a larger theater, there was an intimacy to it. And just so much fun. I mean, everybody standing up, everybody dancing, just such a good, positive vibe. A lot of, yes, there were politics infused in there. He made it very topical. There was, recent footage in some of the songs and things like that. There was a very pro, lead with love and lead with, stuff that you would expect somebody like David Byrne to go with in face of what's going on in the world today. But it was just, we walked out of there with just smiles on our face. It was just fantastic. And I would just encourage anybody who, has an appreciation for any early Talking Head stuff to check out David Byrne's new record. It's really, really good. And just the show, it totally delivered. And my wife she was walking on air for like the next few days afterwards. She's like, can you go to that website where you get those set lists and make me a playlist of just the entire set? And I was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. So, but yeah,
did you earn yourself a few more nights out after that?
Well, I mean, so the Bataan Death March of my shows ends this week. I've got 2 more shows, and then I take a break until December. So yeah.
The thing where all of the bands come through the same part of the Northeast at the same time,
I don't know. It's
stop
crazy
doing that.
I don't.
Counter program.
This has been a perfect storm of everyone touring all in September and early October. It's like nuts. It's
April and May are usually pretty packed, and then September is always really packed in terms of stuff.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like working around festivals or working around European tours or like what or why, but it just everybody has played. And then like after this week, it's nobody. And then like
nobody comes in February. Like they just don't.
It's crazy. So we'll see. But yeah, so it was a great show. And again, I recommend it's technically called the Who is the Sky tour. And I would recommend checking out his
Who's
new
this guy? Nah. Who is this guy? Yeah, who's that guy?
I would recommend the new album because it is it's very good. There's a couple of songs. The album is also called Who is the Sky. And there's a song, the single off of it called Everybody Laughs. It's just a great song, and it's very Talking Heads.
Everybody's laughing at him. What are you doing?
It's very Talking Heads reminiscent. And it's fun, like, and I'll give credit to his like quote unquote band. Like he's got a whole troupe around him of musicians.
Are they somehow not a band?
Well, no, but they're not. But it's not a band, and like there's not fixed positions. Like they've like four drummers, but they're like doing like marching band drums, where like so they can move around the stage. Everyone's very mobile. No one is static. Yeah, it's still a band. No, but it's not like there's no drum set, and then like there are no amps. Everything is like everyone is moving on the stage and dancing and going with the choreography. Like every person in the troupe is part of the presentation, less so in a way of just standing there in front of a microphone, like in a fixed position, like a normal band, if that makes sense.
Say a Cash Tolman.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just for Ron, that one.
It's a great venue too.
Yeah. So good. So good. So, but then over on TV, I just want to quickly call out, this just started. 2 episodes have come out of Chad Powers on FX and Hulu, or I don't know if it's on FX or just on Hulu. It might be just on Hulu.
I think it's just on Hulu.
Yeah, just on Hulu. So Glenn Powell starring in this. He created it with Michael Waldron, who got some notoriety from doing a bunch of Marvel stuff. I forget exactly what he did. I think he did the most recent Doctor Strange movie. He did some of the Marvel TV stuff. But this is basically a college football player who disgraced himself by blowing it in the championship game. 8 years later, tries to make a comeback by going to an open tryout at a college in Georgia. And his dad, played by the great Toby Huss, is a Hollywood makeup prosthetics man. And he steals prosthetics and pulls a Mrs. Doubtfire and creates a new identity named Chad Powers and tries out for the team and makes it. And it's hilarity ensues. And you guys know I don't like football, so there's that.
You're watching this, but not Friday Night Lights.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to bring up Friday Night Lights.
We're never going to forget. We're going to make t-shirts.
I do love Glenn Powell, as you know.
That's true.
You've watched 2 episodes of Friday Night Lights, and you'll never forget about Kyle Chandler for the rest of your life.
This is really fucking funny. Like there's like me and my wife sat down and watched it. It's a half an hour per episode, like it's tight half hours. And there are some lines in this that had us laughing out loud. There's a lot of like not even slapsticks or ridiculous humor, but like really smart, quippy humor, and really fast paced because it's so tight. You got Steve Zahn, who we love from That Thing You Do, is in it. He plays the head coach of the football team. And it's totally, it's bosom buddies. It's Mrs. Doubtfire. It's all that, Soul Man. It's the same shtick as someone pretending to be something that they're not. And can they get away? How long can they get away with it?
Just one of the guys.
Just one of the guys. Classic film. And Glenn Powell is very, very funny in it. He's very funny. So I'm recommending this to anybody who I talk to who watches TV because it's been very amusing. The first 2 episodes impressed me a lot. So
going way back. We finished Friends and we were like, that was good. And then we tried a couple of other things that didn't really hit. And then we were just looking in there on Hulu. I was like, watch My Name is Earl. Let's try that and throw it on. And I'm about halfway through, a little more through the second season by now, so I don't know how long it's been, a month or so. And it's kind of that came out in 2005, and it's kind of in this era that I've almost forgotten about.
Yeah,
in
it was
terms of
great. It was a
TV.
great show.
First of all, I just like it's one of those things where you watch the pilot and you're like, oh my God, this is all right here. That pilot won an Emmy for writing. I didn't know that, but I totally understand it. But I mean, there's bits of it where this is right on the heels of Arrested Development, which I, and many others certainly will consider sort of like the high watermark for TV comedy, certainly of that era. And, there's stuff in it where it's right up there in terms of writing and sort of being clever and really quick and funny. But I think the thing that's really nice about it is that, and we've talked about Jason Lee, he comes up here and again, and you're just like, man, that guy's a star. And what's really cool here is that he completely encapsulates this Earl character. And I forget he's Jason Lee, but also nobody else but Jason Lee could play that in that way. And you're just watching his hands do his thing. But I think the thing that's really sweet about it, at most of it's like literally just about being the best person you can be and trying to be a better person.
Why don't you
like
tell people what the sort of log line is, because I think
Jesus, this show is 20 years old. I didn't realize. I just looked up to see when it premiered. Exactly. It premiered in 2005.
So and what's funny, when I started it, I thought, I don't remember these guys being all bad guys. But what it is that he's he's the scumbag. If you Rick Remender's scumbag book, he's the scumbag, and him and his brother live in Camden County, which is just about it's probably about Van Nuys, if I'm being honest, based on the shots. But up and down Burbank Boulevard in every episode. Anyway, he wins a scratcher ticket, and he's like, yay, and then he gets hit by a car, and so he realizes that he has been doing the wrong thing, and karma is the thing. So that is the guiding principle, is that for everything bad you did, something bad happens to you. So he makes a list, and every episode is based on something from the list that he has to fix that he had done wrong in his past. And it would be really easy for them to just go, like, this episode is this item, this episode, but they got creative really quickly with it. So the thing that it starts out with isn't necessarily, where it goes. The supporting cast is just excellent. I don't think that Jamie Presley has ever gotten enough credit for. She's amazing, where she can be really funny and play this full-on dopey character, and I don't know, though. I'm watching her this whole time going, she's amazing. She should have gotten. And then Ethan Suplee, he's also like comedy gold. He's fantastic. But the thing is, one hit after another in terms of the jokes go. And I just find it's incredibly rewatchable. It was one of my favorite shows at the time, and I just haven't thought about it since. And it's because it's been so long, it's a little bit new.
So she won the Emmy in 2007, Jamie Presley.
Good.
So she did get the credit.
Good. She should.
Yeah.
And she's she's just excellent. It's really funny because she's supposed to be some dopey trailer trash person, and you're like, she's all very pretty. Her clothes fit very well, but then she sort of goes the other. She can kind of do all those things all at once. And the other thing is that when I watch Friends, there's a lot of stuff you're like, ugh, I don't know about that. This has that, but less of it. This is from the period where you'd make jokes that you're like, that's a little racist, but you're sort of making fun of racism, but you're also being a little bit racist. But in the end, everybody loves each other, and it's fine, I guess. I don't know, but just a huge joy. Like, it's been great.
You're right, though. It is a weird time where it's like American Idol was like in its third year, and so that was starting to take over, and you had like Dancing with the Stars and shows like that starting to come in and dominate the top 10 list, and you just don't think about shows from that era.
Yeah, and it's like, I remember it, but like Ron, I was like, it was that long ago. It's a newish show in my head.
No, it's 20 years, dude.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And then I was looking, and like, what I thought was, man, Greg Garcia, who created the show, I was like, this guy's amazing. Why don't I know anything else he's done? And I looked up, and he's done other shows. I've just never watched any of them. So, but I don't know. I'm like, well, I don't like that, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. Maybe the Millers.
What shows did he do?
I was just looking it up, and hold on. The Millers was sort of the longest running one. After
Raising, he did Raising Hope.
Oh no, Raising Hope. There we go.
Yeah. That was funny.
2010 to 2014. Yeah, I never saw it, but again, also at that
Raising Hope was really funny.
Yeah.
And that got canceled after 4 seasons. Yeah, that was a really funny show.
Well, I mean, Earl only had 4 seasons, 96 episodes versus 88. I mean, the other thing is just like after that, comes the point. That's when my kid's born, and like I'm not watching nearly as much TV. So that's sort of the other thing that happens. Like I'm not watching random sitcoms, and that's when streaming is sort of changing stuff. Anyway, if you were looking for a thing to go back to, it's been fantastic, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
And then we have the return, and I am still always surprised that this show keeps coming back, because after the first season, I thought, well, we'll be the only Americans who enjoyed this, and that'll be the end of the day. But the fact that they're now
what show is it?
Slow Horses. We're in season 5. In my brain, I see a picture, and everybody does, but that's fine. Slow Horses is back, and what are we, 2 episodes in at the point of recording this?
Yeah.
How mad was
comes
I?
That'll be 3.
Yeah.
How mad was I when I finished the first episode and there was nothing?
Yeah, I
had to
said it in our Slack channels. Like the cliffhanger on episode 1, you were just like, "Fuck!"
I'm great. I'll wait a week. I want it to be weekly. I don't want.
it's fine,
Yeah. You want to know what happens.
Great. I want to be excited for it in a week. Yeah, but
totally.
That's not what we're saying, Rod. We're saying it was such a good cliffhanger. We were like, "Fuck!"
I know exactly what you're saying. I know. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, first, usually they release 2 at the beginning, so I was like, well, maybe we'll at least get 1. And it's a great feeling to want to watch another thing, as opposed to be like, all right, I got that out.
But it's going back to the pit. When the pit was weekly, right? It would you get that shot of the credits, or like and you got to wait a week, and that feeling of waiting is the best. And like knowing that it's Slow Horses night is the best. Like my wife and I were saying, because we were talking about TV, and she's like, we need to establish our nightly TV schedule now, because there's too much going on.
Everything's back now. Last episode we were talking about how nothing was on, and now
it's a deluge. Yeah,
there's too much back.
But I do have a hot take on Slow Horses. Is that 2 episodes in, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I never want it to end, and it's fantastic. I do want to see where it goes, but I'm getting a little wheel spinning in place feeling.
So this is the point.
I do want to see a little forward momentum, because right now it's just Gary Oldman barking at everybody the same way he has for the last 3 seasons, and everybody kind of in their same role.
But that's how these things work.
That's the wheels in motion. It seems like he doesn't care. Well, I mean, the point that I was going to make
these
is
books,
that
these books are like, it's the same thing. They're written that way. Like the series of books this is based on are like in like Reach or any book like that, where you get the same setup of just a different wrapping around it.
Right.
That's
I would like to see a little deviation, not so much like last season when we had River in France as super spy, on his own, but just a little bit of a
last season was my least favorite season they've had.
Yeah, I agree with that. So
what were you gonna say, Josh?
What was it?
I was surprised. This is the only season I think where we haven't had a new team member. I think every other season we've had, like, obviously
they're dwindling. The team is dwindling.
Well, the hoodie guys.
He was there last season.
Yeah,
I know, but he's still just like.
But every season there's been a brand new person who gets added to the team.
Push knife.
Yeah,
I think the thing is that I don't know. I don't know how to judge it anymore in that way. Like I'm not at the point where I'm like, this is good or not good. I was like, this is what this is, and I can't tell you if it's good or not. And I think like at the end of last season, I thought, I don't know that I liked that, but I want more of it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I like that as much. I guess
that the plot wasn't as good last time, and everybody was separated the entire season. They didn't really.
The action was great. The whole the guy who died, Shirley, and the guy who died, Kurt. Like that.
But they just separated the whole team last season. They were all off on their own bubbles.
Boy, Shirley's just what's going on there?
Yeah.
We're so
looks like a vagrant.
We get it on Tuesday night because of the time difference, and so we usually watch it Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
I love the show.
We're so happy.
I mean, Ullman says he'll play it for as long as they'll make him, so I don't want him to stop. So
I don't like how unhealthy he looks. Like I realize he's acting, but
hard,
he's got to put on weight, and like I just worry about him. That's all.
Yeah.
So for my money, the best comedy on TV is the studio, but when the studio is not on currently, the baton gets handed to English Teacher. Also airing on FX, streaming on Hulu. Much like Slow Horses, we're in the middle of the second season, although they are pumping these episodes out every week. I think they put out three a night on Thursdays on FX. And I live with an English teacher, and at first she didn't want to watch it, but then I basically made her watch the first one, and she laughs harder at it than I do, and sometimes I have to pause and ask why she's laughing so hard. And she explains how this was related to what happens in her school. It's very, what I'm saying, it's very accurate in terms of the general feeling around being a teacher in school currently in the world, with all the things that teachers have to deal with, including all the phones being a problem and all the issues that young people have now. It's very funny, and the cast is great. And Enrico Colantoni as the principal is like a gift every week.
He's so good. I will give this show so much credit as it grows into its own in the second season. No show handles crosstalk better.
Yes.
Like you've got the core 5 main characters always talking to each other, often about 2 to 3 different things at the same time.
Yeah.
And you need to keep up. And the episodes are like 25 minutes now. Like they're short episodes. Like we were watching TV then, like, oh, do you want to watch English Teacher? And like we were done. It was like 9:40. We're like, oh, I guess we have time to watch something else. Like it was so fast, but like they pack so much in a short amount of time. And there's so many funny lines and funny moments and funny looks and stuff like that. Like this cast works so well with each other. And Stephanie Koenig who plays Gwen, she is becoming like,
she's really great.
She's really good. Not only in the fast talking, the dialogue, but the physical comedy that she's been doing this season has been fantastic. Like the episode with his mother, and the last scene in the restaurant when she fell and did the sliding, like it was, I mean, we were dying. It was very, very good.
I think it's similar to Please Don't Destroy, in that when the creator comes from the internet, it's a very snappy pace.
Yeah.
There's no, and I don't want every show to be that way, but it works really well with this ensemble where it's the dialogue comes really fast and the editing is really tight.
Yeah,
it's very funny,
and I think the presence of Jonathan Kreisel as the director who's directing most of these episodes, he worked on Portlandia, and so like they've got a core like people who know how to make comedy on TV working with Brian Jordan Alvarez, so bringing the like the short form TikTok comedy with the how to make a half-hour show and merging the two, and it's working. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so funny, and the music's great. Every episode's got at least 1 or 2 like great 80s songs.
And the opens are great. The opens are so good. Yeah, it's one of the best shows on TV, hands down.
Absolutely.
Period. Yeah.
Going to the movies a lot, as always. But one of the movies I went to in the last month was Downton Abbey, the grand finale, the final Downton Abbey chapter. Which is funny because every movie, this is the 3rd movie, and every movie has ended in such a way that it could be the last movie, but this is the last movie. And
is it though?
It is. They said this is it. The story also makes it clear, but they also said like there's no more. They've done their trilogy. I'm sure these people don't want to do this anymore. Paul Giamatti's in this one.
Some of them do.
Oh, sure.
Some of them like, this is kind of, as Mrs. Patmore, that's my thing. I do Mrs. Patmore.
Paul Giamatti joins this one as Lady Grantham's brother, ne'er-do-well brother from America.
Does he? I'm in the middle of the 4th season, or near the end of the 4th season now, and he just showed up, and I didn't remember him showing up that soon.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he comes back for this one.
It's weird because when and I know this is not the point. He first shows up, he like they're asking him to go to a party. He's like, that's the last thing I want to do. And I was like, oh, he's just going to be the curmudgeon. But then like pretty quickly, you're like, no, he's a fucking rich guy player. And I was like, that's not what I expected out of it. I don't remember where it goes from there, but I tried to finish before the movie came out. Obviously, I didn't make it.
That is interesting considering what happens in this movie. It was really nice. If you're a fan of the show, as I am, as Josh is, Ron even watched some of it and liked it. It's a nice send off. It's funny because it's like if you think of, I think it ends in 1930. I think that's where the movie ends. At this point, you're like, these guys, we got to move on because like this lifestyle is over. But
and you're like this, and there's no upward mobility in service at all.
And it's funny to watch
yourself in 5 years
in the midst of the Gilded Age, because a lot of the things they're dealing with the Gilded, obviously Julian Fellows is responsible for both of those. Is similar, and there's a lot of similar themes. But it's a really nice enough. Basically, every major character from the house, not all the major love interests, comes back, and
a lot of fan service, a lot of Downton fan service.
Yeah, there is, and then there's a really nice final scene that sort of takes you through the whole show, which was which was good. It was really good. We enjoyed it. I still think the first one's probably the best. I mean, the movie, I enjoyed all the movies. The first one's probably the best one, but this one was a really nice goodbye too. I mean, who would have thought? You know, a lot of series hope to get a movie wrap up. This one got 3. That's how popular
it's crazy
relative to its production size. But
just to give context, Downton Abbey started 6 years after My Name Is Earl started.
Yeah,
that's not that much after.
Yeah, 2011.
But like Downton Abbey had that weird sort of groundswell thing where it was like it's a masterpiece thing. Okay,
yeah,
we'll check it. And then sort of people, you know,
and it was on the same time as Sherlock, and I liked Sherlock a hell of a lot, but I was always like I would prefer Downton Abbey, but you couldn't in our circles. You couldn't be like, you couldn't really say that because everyone is all about Sherlock. It's like, but I think Downton Abbey is more fun.
It took me a long time,
or lest you be shunned.
Well, I watched it for a really long time before. At some point, I realized it's like, oh, this is super funny.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that in a like.
And this one's funny. The movie's really funny.
Yeah, like it just is, and it's it's melodramatic. It's all those. It's a lot of things. It's exactly like The Gilded Age. So,
and this is. I mean, I have to spoil the set. I mean, the Dowager dies in the second movie, and so at this point, Lord Grantham is kind of sliding into that role because he's getting older. And more curmudgeonly and more out of touch with the world, which is one of the themes of this film. So, if you haven't seen it, it's really fun. If you haven't seen the show at all, then you're probably not going to enjoy the movie. You probably should definitely not see the movie because nothing will make sense.
But if you have a spare 49 hours, want to
how many episodes
get all that out? Is what 5 seasons, 10 apiece.
I will say it is the theater was one of the more full theaters I've been at for a new movie. This was.
Is Dr. Clarkson still around?
No, I think did he die? Did he die in the war?
He didn't die in the first war.
Car accident, something, poison.
I just assumed he would have given himself the wrong medicine.
We're gonna take a quick break. Josh is gonna leave, and we'll be right back after this. All right, we're back, and Josh did leave.
Yes.
We were not kidding.
He had something better to do. So
this next segment we're going to talk about Alien Earth season 1 and One Battle After Another, and he is in the middle of Alien Earth season 1. He's not seen One Battle After Another, and he intends to, and he didn't want to be spoiled, so he pulled his show host prerogative and he parachuted out of the show.
Respecting his wishes, that's fine. I respect that.
So let's jump into the first one, Ron, which is Alien Earth season 1. Created by Noah Hawley. It's aired on FX, streaming on Hulu, starring Sydney Chandler, daughter of Kyle Chandler, Babu Chise, Samuel Blinken, Timothy Oliphant as the replicant. That's Blade Runner.
Nope, that's Blade Runner. What is the term?
It's the android character.
The synth. Yeah.
Interesting. So, unless I've missed it, has not yet been renewed for season 2.
No, it hasn't, but they sure want to be. It seems like.
Yeah, but it's been a while. Usually they announce the renewal really quickly after the first season.
This was almost talked about on our last episode, but it was right when it started, and we were like, let's wait until it's done. And I feel like that was the right instinct.
Mm-hmm.
What a journey this has been. These 8 episodes. Are you as conflicted about this as I am?
Yes, okay. I'm conflicted. Yeah. I'm
very conflicted.
I really liked half of the season, and I really was bored by half of the season.
My assumption is that there is some really cool and interesting and good stuff here, surrounded by some confounding, frustrating, bang your head against the table stuff as well. First and foremost, I will give them the credit that if there is an Emmy or some sort of award for best previously on recap scene, Alien Earth deserves it, because their usage of the music and the logo and the clips from the previous scene and the first couple of seconds of the episode, I looked forward to that every episode. That was that was one of the coolest moments of every episode, and so bravo to them for that. That was fantastic. So off the gate, that was one good thing. But beyond that, there was some others just mind-bending decisions.
We should have said we're going to spoil this season, and we're going to spoil the movie we talk about next. So if you haven't seen either one, you should skip this segment. I just no way to talk about the things we liked, didn't like, without spoiling. So,
and it's done, so it's over. So if you didn't, whatever.
It's again, part of my problem, and this is not a huge problem, is the prequel problem, which is, how does no one know about these alien creatures if they're suddenly now, loose on the planet? Like the whole thing in the first Alien movie was no one knew what the xenomorph was.
No, here's the. No, I will counter argue that is that no one on the Nostromo knew about them.
But then,
I mean, but there's a good. While this is happening, the Nostromo's out in space already on their journey.
Sure.
Like I can plausibly buy that what is the Weyland-Yutani had multiple endeavors to go get these things, and this is one of them that happened. What I don't understand and what challenges me about this is that, like, we only ever heard about Weyland-Yutani. We never heard about 5 other companies. We never heard about Prodigy, and cool. So you do something different. No, Holly, that's fine. I know that Boy Cavalier was a polarizing character amongst people on the internet, stuff like that. I actually really liked the actor who played him. I thought the character had some really interesting aspects to it. I thought there was some really interesting stuff they did with him. I didn't hate him completely. But to your point, Connor, how does this never come up at all in all of the, this
is the same problem I have with Star Trek, Discovery. Like, everyone wants to do the prequel to tie into the famous series or famous films.
Right.
But so many less problems if you do a sequel. Do it in the future. Like, what does this alien world look like in 100 years? Like, do that.
Yeah.
That way you don't get stuck in these pretzels of trying to make it work with what's happening.
I'm less concerned about that and more frustrated by the okay, let's take the thing that was really cool about Alien and Aliens and be the fact that there was this thing running around in the shadows and the smoke that you rarely ever caught a glimpse of it. And on this show, we're going to show it to you all the time.
Okay.
That's what drove me more crazy, is that we saw so much Alien in this show. I
was driving to a early Halloween party this past weekend, and someone in the car was dressed as the main character. What's her name? Sydney Chandler's character.
Yep.
And we were talking about the show, and we all agreed that those of us had seen it, that one of the worst things was seeing the xenomorph run around in a brightly lit set, either on a ship or in a daytime jungle scene, where it became very clear that it was a man in a rubber suit.
Oh, there was a couple. It was
not so scary
scenes.
when it's just a dude in a rubber. Like, when you can barely see it in a shadow, and just the mouth comes out and it's dripping, and it's like disappears. That's really terrifying. When it's clearly a dude in a suit. That's kind of not ill-fitting, but he kind of moves on. But it just was like, oh, this is
there was a couple of scenes early in the first couple episodes when the ship first crashed in the city and the alien had gotten out and they were in the apartment building, and the alien did that thing where it was like merging with the walls and with the background, like there was a statue or standing on the statue, then all of a sudden it's there. Totally awesome. There was one scene where the alien just like walked around, and it looked like when you go to Universal Halloween Horror Nights and there's just somebody in a costume chasing people, and like, no, that's not cool. Like, so and
kind of shocking that no one saw this footage and was like, this is not working. But
I gotta wonder how much of this is part of the 20th century, whatever that owns it, is just like, cool, you can do this, but have show the alien. Like, we want you to show I wonder if how much of that is a corporate decision. But I do think it represents, from a metaphor standpoint, of what a lot of what was frustrating about this show, in that there were the core of some very interesting ideas and some very, very good performances, right? So I'll talk, like, it's easy to shit on it on stuff like that, but I'll call out the good thing. The Weyland-Yutani head of security on the ship, the cyborg with the arm, the guy who's helping, it was that Babu Cisse, the actor. Amazing. He was fantastic. Every time he was on screen, I was really captivated. Great. He was fantastic. Timothy Oliphant as Hirsch, as the synth, doing this weird David Bowie-esque kind of thing. Like, he was fantastic, right?
And their fight was awesome.
And their fight was great. Like, so you had these pocket performances that were really, really cool. But then what you took with it was you got the sense of like they were both kind of operating on their own kind of their own kind of agendas, which are like, okay, I'm waiting for like the big kind of reveal, but there was no reveal.
Right.
There was no kind of twist of that, right? And then on top of that, you had Boy Cavalier and the kids who, the whole premise of the show was that the Prodigy company was taking the synth technology and they'd figure out how to copy a human's soul and essence into a robot's body, so that what's the not meta, but the transhumanism, so that basically allow people to live forever. And
it's
what
good
they
to
did
know
was,
that the tech companies are still working on this. However many
I know,
years,
exactly. And so they took a bunch of sick and dying kids and transferred them into robot bodies as the first test group, right? Which is sick in of its own right. And Boy Cavalier renames them after the Lost Boys in Peter Pan. And what you ended up with was you got these actors who are in their 20s who are being told to act as if they are 10-year-olds. And it played out for the first third of the show as like a bad college acting assignment, where it's like, okay, now you're in 5th grade, and they're like, oh, I'm scared, and like doing like really bad, like, and it just went on forever, right? So like you had the show had some really, really high points and some really, really low points.
So my Alien fandom is a very simple one. It's, I want to see people, because of their hubris, make really dumb decisions and then get killed by the alien.
Right.
That's
exactly
all I want.
Yeah.
I don't really want anything else. So the first half of the show was all of that and a lot of like corporate espionage and intrigue between Weyland-Yutani and Kid Cavalier's company and all.
Prodigy.
And I was just like on the couch going, okay, but when do people die? Right. Like I don't really care. I don't. Right. And so when it hit my favorite episode, which may be controversial, I don't know, it was the homage to the original film.
What, when they just redid Alien?
Yeah. When they took the crew from the ship in the very first episode, which was featured some recognizable actors, and you were surprised they died right away, and then showed them discovering the xenomorphs, and then didn't eventually, like, I love that episode.
That episode was great. It was
a remake, but that's just exactly what I want from an Alien.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the series was, we have these alien specimens of not just xenomorphs, but all kinds of different weird, creepy aliens.
Which
then they all started making dumb decisions and dying, and I was like, this is why I came for the show.
Yeah, I will say.
I like the second half more. The first half I was kind of bored to death.
High point and low point. High point was the other aliens were inventive and imaginative. The eyeball alien in the sheep was awesome. The eyeball alien. There could be a whole show about the eyeball alien. It was fantastic, I thought. And even Boy Cavalier's like obsession with it, and like the whole sequence when it killed the one kid with the orchestra, like that was so great. Low point, they have all the aliens in the secure lab, which is like freaking Grand Central Station. Everyone coming in and out of it, like it's not that secure, right? So I and then there's just weird decisions and weird like television-based narrative jumps to get characters from point A to point B, and skipping over the logic that would have it to happen in order to move the story along, where you just kind of drag the viewer along. And sometimes it's okay to accept that because there's only a amount of time, and it's like, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't need to see every detail. But sometimes you're aware that you're being dragged. And when you're aware you're being dragged, that's not good television as far as I'm concerned. So
it could be that just some properties are not TV properties.
Yeah.
And Alien's like a really fun horror sci-fi moment. You get you watch that moment, and when it's, I don't say dragged out, but when it's stretched out over 8 episodes. And you can't kill everyone in the first episode, so you got to really stretch it out so nothing happens until like episode 6 or 5. Then you get a lot of, I just didn't care about the politics of the world. I'm not looking to Alien for any kind of insight into the world I'm living in.
So now you get Kyle Chandler's daughter, who is the Uber child, the child immortal, whatever, who is like has godlike powers, right?
Right.
Not only is she super strong and all this stuff, but she can just control all the electronics of the entire place by nodding her head. No explanation necessary. None of the other kids can do it, by the way, but she can.
Right.
And then she also now can communicate with the aliens and control aliens.
Right.
And it's just like and it's I don't know.
I mean, we sound really negative. I didn't dislike the show. I wouldn't give it like a great grade, but I
watched it weekly. I was riveted. It was
my whatever day it aired after the next day lunchtime watch. Like I really enjoyed it. I was like, ooh, Alien Earth Day, but I was way more into it in the second half. The first half, it was kind of like it was on, and I would get bored. And I'd start doing a crossword puzzle while it was on, and then I'd watch while I'm doing the puzzle. But the second half, I was locked in the whole, because it just was more interesting, and I saw critiques that the people were dumb. Yeah, that's what happens on these. That's what happens in these things. People are dumb, and the aliens killed them. That's what the point is. People are dumb all the time.
I mean, overall, I gave it a B-. Probably it was just like I enjoyed watching it. I thought there was some really, really interesting things, some really great performances, and just some clunky television storytelling. So
I wouldn't be upset if it didn't get renewed.
Yeah, neither would I. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, likewise.
So let's move on because I actually hit the button. One Battle After Another, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, is out. Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro, Jim Downey from Saturday Night Live, Sean Penn, lots of other people. That's all we could fit on the screen, but lots of people in this movie. Many of his regular players make appearances, either audio or video wise. This is the latest in the Hero of the Valley, Paul Thomas Anderson's,
the hotly anticipated, much hyped,
huge $150 million budget for this.
That's exaggerated. What they're saying 120,
180.
180. That's insane. So I mean 120, 130 maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Those de-aging effects the first 20 minutes are expensive. Yeah. Which I didn't realize they were doing, and when they showed up later, I was like, this old. Somebody I talked to about it said this is the first time I realized Leo was 50. I have a complicated relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson films. I love Boogie Nights. I watched it the night before we saw One Battle After Another. It just happened to come on TV. I sat to watch the whole thing. I hadn't sat through the whole thing in years. I thought I liked Magnolia when I first saw it. I saw it again about 10 years ago and really hated it. Licorice Pizza I loved until the last 20 minutes, and then I hated it. I don't know. His aesthetic and mine don't necessarily mix, but I was just still excited for this because it looked really interesting. I love Leo and
so and that's the same thing. Like I definitely don't pray at the altar of PTA. Like there's there's the whole sector of film nerds that like
LA film nerds. He's the god it's him
totally.
Quentin.
But to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen all of Magnolia all the way through, like just because I don't like Tom Cruise and like all that sort of stuff. But but obviously like love Boogie Nights. I love Licorice Pizza. Phantom Thread continues to be one of my favorite movies of all. Like it is so often quoted and referenced and stuff like that. I think Phantom Thread is. I think the world of it. And I found that, from the point of the initial trailer of this one, I found this one really kind of interesting and compelling. And, based on a Thomas Pynchon novel, Say What You Will About Pynchon, for book folks out there. But found it to be, this could be interesting and compelling.
Yep.
And ultimately, and so we should, before we talk about the film itself, I do love, and I've fallen into the film nerd space of it. This was filmed in VistaVision,
right?
For those of you, that is a old 1950s kind of format. It's closer to a 4:3 format, like a squarish rectangle, not widescreen kind of format. Only 5 theaters in the country were playing it in VistaVision in the world, right? 1 in LA, 1 in New York, 3 others that I don't care about.
Boston and London.
Yeah. So I maneuvered my life in order to go see it in New York on the VistaVision screen one Saturday afternoon. And so got my wife to take care of the kids, got on the train, went to the city, got lunch, go to the theater in Union Square. And as I walk up to the theater, they're handing out vouchers. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. And my first thought was, oh, they oversold.
Right.
Like they must have, there's such a demand. So they must be like trying to, pawn people off. And I got up there and turns out because VistaVision requires a projector, and there's only 5 of them in the country, and it is a very old projector, the projector broke earlier in the day, and they needed a part from Texas that wasn't going to come until Monday.
Yeah.
And so they were showing the digital version, and of which I said F that, and quickly looked on my phone and saw that the 70 millimeter IMAX version was playing up in Lincoln Square in about an hour, and there was a decent seat still available, so I bought that ticket. Took the voucher for the free movie at the original theater and went to go see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, which is very close to VistaVision.
Was it Square?
Yes, it was Square. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did see it in VistaVision, the theater here in LA. Has been sold. I mean, we were speculating how long they're going to run it because it's been sold out for the entire run. It's been out for weeks now. I couldn't get tickets. So the opening week, I looked, it was sold out the whole week. I couldn't get tickets for 2 weeks after it opened. So that's how long it took. Like I find a showing that didn't have, that wasn't sold out, and it was for 10 a.m. So I had to be at the theater like 9:30 in the morning. I had to get up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday to go to the movies. It was very disorienting. But So I mean, the VistaVision looked awesome. It has this depth of field and clarity to it that was really cool, and the framing was interesting because you have so much more, because films are usually in a rectangle framing, and so here you've got much more space to play vertically, and it was interesting how he framed the shots. Okay, so I really like this.
Yeah,
I really like this. I had a couple of problems, but they weren't fatal, like my licorice pizza problems. I really thought this was very, very good. I still think I like Sinners more. I'm thinking about the best movies of the year.
Interesting.
But I think this was very, very, very good, and I thought everyone was terrific.
So
it rides this very interesting line between serious and farce.
Yep. So my assessment is after thinking about it, after sleeping on this for a couple of days and thinking about it, this was as close to a perfect movie as it's gotten in a while. I have a hard time finding a complaint or a nitpick or anything like that from it. From the story itself, presenting itself in one thing, it seems like, oh, this is going to be a political statement movie about one thing, and then taking a turn to a emotional family drama kind of, especially being a father of a daughter, like it definitely hit that nerve and that sort of thing. So like kudos on that. I think the performances were top notch across the board. Yep. Like there wasn't you rattled off the cast earlier. There wasn't a single point in the thing, there wasn't a single poor performance in the bunch. Yep. The Paul Thomas Anderson humor was there. Yep. That's the only area where I would push it a little, because there was a couple, there were moments where my audience laughed out loud. Yep. And there was a couple of things in there where I'm like, we didn't really need it to be that funny, like we didn't need that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it really goes for the satire, the whole
exactly the Christmas piece. Yeah, that thing was that's the one thing that pushed it almost a little too far, but not far enough to even complain about it. I thought the score was pitch perfect in terms of hitting the right amount of tension at the right amount of time and driving the interest in the associated scene. There's a car chase at the end where the score just literally had me physically on the edge of my seat. And I think the music was a huge part of that. Visually, it looked amazing, whether it was the VistaVision or how they chose to shoot it, the use of close-ups versus also the use of really, really wide shots, like just the cinematography alone. So walking out of it, it wasn't just like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just saw. I didn't have that overwhelm. And it's not the same, like with Phantom Thread, we were talking about it for weeks afterwards.
Right.
I don't know if I'm talking about it for weeks afterwards, but walking out of it, I'm like, I have a hard time finding a flaw with this film. This felt masterful.
So we went to a bar afterwards where our friend was bartending, and ate at the bar and talked to some people who had seen it and had a really great time for about 2 hours talking about it. That's my favorite thing about seeing a movie with the thing that you lose in streaming is everyone sees things at their own time and their own pace. But when things are out and you have to see them relatively at the same time, you can have these great conversations around it. Anyway, one of the things I really hated the movie was something you just mentioned you love, which I thought the score was awful.
What?
I could not stand.
You're insane. You're
insane.
No,
I could not stand the the plinking piano that was over the dialogue, and it felt like it was
great,
suffocating and distracting. And I just wanted scenes. I wanted dialogue. Like it worked in like the action sequences, but I wanted dialogue scenes without plinking piano over the dialogue. I just was really annoyed by how intrusive it was.
Oh, I thought it was great.
But other than that, the week before I saw it, Vulture put out an article calling Leonardo DiCaprio our finest comedic actor, and
I mean,
he's really fucking funny in it. He's really effortlessly funny.
Yeah,
and he was really funny in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's really funny in Catch Me If You Like. He's a funny actor. He's a great dramatic actor, but he's a really, really funny. And this is his character. Really, for me, energizes the movie, because when he goes away, it gets really dour.
Yep.
Sean Penn's great. His character is both really serious, but also really over the top comedic. But whenever he was around, it's just kind of like, it was kind of not sad, but it was just such a different kind of movie. When Leo's character disappears for like 20 minutes or so, and then when he comes back in, you're like, oh man, this guy, love this guy.
Yep.
And Chase Infinity, his daughter, she was awesome.
She was. I mean, it was hard to believe this is her first film. She delivered a really, really good performance.
And Benicio del Toro, who comes in as the sensei, he's
Yep.
so good.
Yep.
You almost can't figure out who the lead is. I mean, Leo's the lead by default as the movie star, but like he's not in most of the movie.
Sean Penn. Well, no, I mean, I've heard that say that, but he's in enough of it where
I'm not saying he's not the lead, but the trailer, he's in every scene of the trailer.
Right. Yeah.
Like they lean hard on him, but he will go away for 5-10 minutes at a time.
Right. Which is I think it was the right call. I think.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. It's just interesting to see. It was much more of an ensemble.
Yeah.
More like Magnolia. In that sense,
Sean Penn is in the parlance of the show, is a goddamn American treasure. Sean Penn is so good in.
You can't not look at him. He captures your attention on the screen. Just
unbelievable, and just the drive and the conflict within, and then the conflict that his character then creates, and the path it goes down, and just the frustration, and you could feel it, and just like the visceral kind of, oh man, it was just that the whole last third of the film, like I said, what literally was on the edge of my seat. It was just so good. That's so good. Yeah.
That was the best and most masterful bit of filmmaking, was the last sort of from the point where he takes the girl, and then to the point where the action ends on the road. Like, you can't imagine what's going to happen, and you are gripping the seat, because it was really some of the best directing I've ever seen from Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
But the first 20, no, I don't say 20, maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes takes place 16 years in the past from the main action. And I hadn't seen Sean Penn in forever, so he comes on the screen, and I was like, he looks great. And then I was like, Leo looks great. And then we go to the president, and I went, oh right, they DH them, like, because just I didn't know we were doing a time jump. I didn't know, so I was just like, man, Leo looks awesome. He looks great for his age. And then it's like, Sean Penn looks great. These guys are awesome. And then suddenly Leo's got a lot more lines on his face, and I went, oh right. It just I don't know. I mean, again, I give it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. Like,
I gave 4.5 stars on Letterboxd too. I mean, like, and I was really vacillating on giving it 5 stars. Like, I was like, is it give 5? I rarely ever give 5 stars, if at all. You know what I mean? Like, 5 stars to me is a really hard one, and maybe over time I might upgrade it to 5 stars. But it's really close, because I just felt as if it was so masterful. I never felt the length. I mean, it was 2 hours and 42 minutes. Like, I never felt it. It never dragged. It never felt, the pace never felt off. It never felt whatever. Mm-hmm. Oddly, I mean, say what you will, about politics and what's going on in the world and all this.
Well, oddly timely, considering this has been development forever.
Right, but I'll give him credit, the fact that he wrote it years ago and they shot it years ago. To be prescient to the point, to the moment in time that we're in right now, what's happening now. You would assume it was filmed this summer, but it was actually filmed years ago, and to see how the right movie at the right time, and the movie's not even about immigration or about all that stuff. That is a backdrop. That is just that is a tool to the execution of the emotional story. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic, and I think I want to see it again. Like,
I mentioned Jim Downey. I put him on the screen because, I wasn't expecting him to show up. I mean, people who don't know, he was like the head writer of Saturday Night Live forever. He would occasionally do on-camera stuff, and he's very funny.
Yeah,
and he plays one of the sort of Christian authoritarian Christmas people,
Yeah.
and he nailed every bit of dialogue when he says, in all seriousness, a semen demon. The fucking theater went berserk. Like it was a great joke, but his delivery was pitch perfect. And then he does some like stuff. Like his final scene is intense, and I wasn't expecting to see Jim Downey. And it was awesome. And then like Alana Haim is in there, and people who have appeared in his other films sort of pop up, and some of them are just on the phone. All the phone scenes were great.
Audience went nuts for Chase Infinity at her big hero moment. Like huge applause, like it like in the moment when she kind of became, in and of her own, like.
But it was also set up by the way the chase was shot and the rolling hills.
Oh, my God, that was great. It was that was so cool.
It didn't come out of nowhere. It's like she's had time. Her character's had time to think about what to do here, and I was impressed. I mean, I was a little weary of going in because, again, like I don't tend to love Anderson's films, but I always give him a chance because he does interesting things. Even if I don't love them, they're at least interesting to watch. And like I said, I was on a high from watching Boogie Nights the night before. Like I watched it till like 1 o'clock in the morning, which made getting up at 8 even more difficult. And I think it's worth seeing. It's an original. Well, I mean, it's based on a book, but it's not a franchise IP. It's a story with something to say about the world, and it's funny, and it's tense, and it's exciting. It's gonna get like 15 Oscar nominations.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be lead the.
It's going to be this and Sinners, probably duking it out. I mean, we haven't seen all the prestige films; haven't all come out yet, so let's just caveat that. But there's a lot of other big ones I'm looking forward to too. But I was happy. Walked out. I was like, well, I really liked that, and I was happy that I did because I've walked out of PTA films before and been like, fuck, he was right there, and I just whatever didn't work for me. But
I mean, that's interesting. I can't say I've had that similar situation, but I get it because I know how conflicted. It's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine who hates Pynchon and watched this film and like made the point that like that wanted to see Chase Infinity's story told by a female or a black filmmaker, right? Like that kind of that point of view. And then basically summed it up. It's like, well, whatever, PTA just makes films for dudes, and I get it. I get that, you know what I mean? Like that is and that explains a lot of the whatchamacallit, the PTA mafia kind of, like the upset, the film nerds and that sort of thing. But, like I'm definitely PTA appreciative. I'm not religious to them, but I don't hate them, like, so
it's not like Quentin Tarantino for me, like,
exactly.
But I was happy, and I if you watch this and haven't seen the movie and you didn't mind being spoiled, go see it. It's really worth seeing on a big screen. These kind of films deserve your attention on the big screen, where you're not looking at your phone and you're really getting the full frame. You may have a nice TV, but it's not made for your TV. It's square. It's made for a screen. And when it's squished down to fit in a modern TV, it's going to look small.
It's not going to be as impressive. And again, like if you can go see it in 70 millimeter IMAX or like one of the bigger formats, like I know on their social media, they're posting one format after another and all the various different formats and all the stuff like that. Try to go see it as close to as the VistaVision 70 millimeter kind of, big kind of format as you can. Like it is truly an experience. And it is a great, like, we both love film, we both love movies, and like that feeling is just the best feeling in the world, really. So
this kind of unofficially kicks off prestige film season. Like I'm looking at my calendar, and I put all the movies I'm looking forward to in the calendar, so I know when they come out. And I just see there's tons, like every weekend there's stuff coming out I want to see, and so I'm excited now. And I go for the most. I mean, I went to the movies the next day. Like I go a lot.
What's the next one that you're excited for?
I want to see Roofman. I want to see the Daniel Day-Lewis movie that's getting bad reviews. I want to
Which
see Anemone.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm excited for what is it, after the hunt? What is that? The Luca Guadagnino movie, the Julia Roberts.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, After the Hunt. Yeah. I'm excited for that one.
I'm looking forward to. I want to see the Springsteen film. I want to see Hamnet. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out that I want to.
Tron. Are you excited for Tron?
I'm not excited for Tron.
I'll go see Tron. I love Tron.
We were
But,
talking about that too. Like Tron is the one because we passed a big billboard for it. It's like Tron is the one franchise that they keep trying, and every time it fails.
Yeah,
it fails every time.
That just reminded me I need to find out when Pets on a Train opens up because I promised my kids I would go take them to see that movie. So
all right, so that's our review of One Battle After Another. I mean, we both really loved it. Even if I had minor problems with it, I still really loved it. So check it out if you want. Also, if you read comic books, check out iFanboy.com. We have our pick of the week show every week. Josh and I, and sometimes special guests, review the week comic books. The week comic books, they're weak and they're strong. The week's comic books. And we have our special edition shows. We have our monthly Talksplode and Booksplode shows where Josh interviews a creator or we review a graphic novel. Those alternate every month. We have our special edition shows where we review the comic book movies and TV shows sometimes. And it's all happening there. It's all happening. We're heading towards our 1000th episode. It's going to be live October 24th. We're
one podcast after another. That's all it is.
It's just one podcast after another. This is 2005. Particularly episode 1000 live October 24th. You can go watch that on youtube.com/iFanboy Friday night. Ron, tell us about your shows.
Yeah, so if you like technology and mobile technology, check out Android Faithful over at androidfaithful.com, where me and my friends talk about Android phones, and we also talk about iPhones and other stuff like that comes out in the world of mobile tech. That's about it. So
what's the big controversy right now? What's everyone talking about? What's the big story?
Google Home just rolled out they're brand new. They're bringing AI to Google Home stuff. It's all AI all the time. Gemini, all that's AI all the time.
They're gonna shove it down your throat whether you want it or not.
One AI after another. So
that's the truth. All right, till next time. I'm Connor.
I'm Ron.
That was Josh. He's gone now. He's been gone for a while.
One Josh after another.